Welcome to my journey into the media world. I'm delighted to say that football is back, and Aston Villa will be kicking off the Project Restart against Sheffield United with their game in hand. To chat about the game, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by James Ruston. James, how are you, mate?
I'm all good. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm delighted to be speaking about football again. It's been a while.
Yeah. So am I. First of all, mate, how has lockdown life treated you?
All right. To be fair, I mean, I can't complain. I'm healthy. I've been looking after myself a bit more. Of course, not been able to see any family members or chill out with my friends or see my girlfriend. But hopefully that will change in the near future. But yeah, I'm looking forward to football being back. I bet you are as well.
Yeah. From a content point of view, it gives us content to create, but then also it's just great to have football back on the screens, and hopefully it can give the nation a lift. Right, let's get down to business then. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, kicking off the Project Restart campaign. I'd normally start these type of previews with looking at the team's current form, but that doesn't really apply to these. But I suppose if you look at Sheffield United, they were flying high and pushing for those Europa League spots. And then from a Villa point of view, we were obviously struggling in the bottom three. From Villa's perspective, how do you see this Project Restart? Do you feel like it will help them? Do you feel like the break would have done them good?
Yeah, so I think the break will have done Villa wonders because, last game was in March, so we're talking 3 months on from losing 4-0 at Leicester. It was a game, I thought that game was 5-0, 6-0, to be honest. I've written down the scoreline as 5-1 so many times because absolute disaster that game was. But we're 3 months on from that now, and you've got a time where Dean Smith and the Villa coach has been able to bond with their players, been able to, have one-on-one sessions, been able to focus a lot more rather than the hectic week in, week out of football. Things are going to step up, they're going to get hectic, but you have to imagine at the start of the season when they're bringing in players like Douglas Luiz, Nakamba, Wesley, you've got a month, 4 weeks to train with them before things kick off, and then it's focusing on the unit rather than on the individual. So you've got these players who've kind of been flung in, not being able to gel. I mean, McGinn said it best, didn't he, when he said Douglas Luiz wasn't able to understand certain communications between the players, like man on, because that might not exist. The word of man and on exist in the Portuguese language, of course, but man on might not be a phrase they use. So he was getting kind of left out and confused. So that would have done players like him wonders because they're able to bed in, train a bit more and not focus on the next game. They can bond as a unit. So I think for Villa, this is fantastic. I mean, of course, the opportunity comes at a great and tragic cost, which Dean Smith has mentioned. This opportunity has come around because of a really tragic thing that's happened. But thus, in purely football terms, it is an opportunity for Villa to, reflect and kick on. And I think it is a tough match for him to go. The first match is going to be tough. But look, there's no better way to kick off than against Sheffield United, I think.
Yeah, you mentioned there about it being a tough game. From my point of view, I don't think there's a better time to play Sheffield United or any team in the league right now, because I feel like it could go in the bottom six's favour because there'll be teams that will be really off form and it could affect them either way.
Yeah, no, I think you're bang on there, Jude, because you look in the Bundesliga, there's teams that you might have thought would kick on, Schalke under David Wagner. You might have thought they would kick on, and they lost 4 on the bounce against really poor teams. I think teams with momentum, like Sheffield United, are a really good team, but momentum is key to them because they're a unit 3 years in the making. Momentum is key to them. It's going in and punching every team in the mouth, getting away with a bloody nose and winning those 3 points. That's what Sheffield United are all about. Really proud. And from a neutral football perspective, really proud of how they've taken the Premier League on. That team is what Dean Smith, that's his dream right in front of him, that Sheffield United dream. I think their momentum may have stalled a bit. Look, they're a good I expect they'll bounce back, but this, as you said, they're coming on an even footing. That's good for Villa. Yeah,
you mentioned Dean Smith there. Do you think he'll look at this as sort of his second season?
Yeah, I mean, you saw the 20-minute odd interview he did the other day. He kept calling it accidentally next season. So he's already in that mindset. He's saying last season and next season. So I think he answers it best, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And one man that is going to be coming back is, of course, Super John Mcginn. The Scotsman has been out with a lengthy injury. You saw what happened last season when Jack came back. Do you think he can have the same sort of influence?
Yeah, look, John McGinn's a great player, but Jack Grealish is someone who's on another level. You know, without Jack Grealish, we can't succeed. Without John McGinn, we can to a certain extent. But I think both of them, like on their day, it's going to be really impressive. John McGinn's going to be raring to go, and if he's anything like Jack Grealish, he comes back better after an injury. Look, he was raring to go on the 1st of March against Man City, and you know he couldn't get back in time. But now is the perfect time. Like John McGinn, all action as well. Like with a rest, bedding into the team a bit more. I can't wait. Like, for one player, I'm really excited. You know, you kind of hang on Jack Grealish, and I know I said Villa can't win without Jack Grealish, but John McGinn, we haven't seen him have this extended break, like this enforced break. There was a few issues last season where he come back against Blues. From the suspension, but this is a whole different world, and I think John McGinn, that rest, enforced rest, and the break, doing the world of good, and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, for me, I think he's going to be like a brand new signing. I'm looking at John McGinn and the system that we've been playing. I remember we were having a chat on Twitter about the sort of system that we thought that John McGinn plays best in. Where do you think he plays best? Because I think when Jack was in that number 10 role, John McGinn was most effective in that role, but then at the same time, Jack Grealish offers something totally different out wide, so it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, I think what goes against Grealish here is the depth Villa have in midfield. Like you've got Harahan, Louise, Drinkwater, you've got McGinn, you've got Nakamba, you've got Lansbury as well off to the side. I don't know if any youth players are looking like, say, a Jack Clark. Probably not Carney Chukwuemeka yet. But you've got depth there where you don't really have that on the wing. So I think Grealish takes up a good spot on the wing and avoids that headache of saying, do we want to put El Ghazi and Trezeguet up every match? And if there's an injury, what do we do then? Because we've only got Jota. I think Grealish kind of removes that headache and he's effective there. But like the argument is like, that's the hard thing with this argument because both are kind of correct. Like, I love the idea of McGinn and Grealish surging from the middle as these kind of dual eights or Grealish higher in the number 10. But I think Villa could afford to be a bit more balanced and kind of restrain themselves on that and give Grealish that position on the left where he does the job and, allow someone the chance to succeed without putting all that pressure on Grealish in the middle. That's just me.
Yeah, I totally understand the perspectives of that, and I'd really be interested to see how John McGinn does in, various roles after he's come back from injury. You mentioned a bit about El Ghazi. I feel like he's the type of player, of course, there's no crowds. I think players like Trezeguet, El Ghazi could really thrive off having no crowd.
I'm spot on with that. I mean, El Ghazi he's a clearly talented player. When you see the highlights, that one touch against Burnley, that side sweeping finish, and then you think that is just quality, and that's just instinctive quality you can't teach. I remember, playing Football Manager a few years ago. He's the wonder kid that everyone's after.
I needed to teach me a bit about Football Manager, because I never really understood it.
Mate, just download some tactics like me, and you'll be flying. But mate, honestly, El Ghazi, he's a player who could have the ball at his feet, and I think he gets a bit frustrated with how things go against him. Like you saw against Southampton, he gets that, that the blow to the head or whatever, and he either doesn't want to compete in that environment where it's kind of hostile. He doesn't want to rise to the challenge because everyone's against him, or he's feeling something in himself where he feels like I'm not at this level I'm not at this. I'm a Premier League player, but I'm not performing to these standards. But I think, look, he's been here since the start of last season, so he's one of the long-term servants. I guess if you compare him relatively to the rest of the club, but like he's got the world at his feet, honestly. And I think he has to prove to himself now that, look, I couldn't really do it with the adversity we had. Can I do it now when it's literally training ground football? And I think, yes, I think El Ghazi can. He's got a lot to prove. And I think he'll be disappointed in himself if he doesn't really kick on. And like the other player you mentioned, Trezeguet, maybe. We'll see. He puts a lot of effort in, but it hasn't really paid off, has it?
No, I remember when we signed him and, the first thing you do is you go to the YouTube clips and he seemed to be a lot more confident in Turkey, and I just hope we can see a little bit more of that. Of course, we don't know until Wednesday what sort of system Dean Smith is going to play. We could talk about it for a very long time. But for you personally, first of all, let's start at the bottom, the goalkeeper spot. Who goes in goal? Personally, for me, it would be Nyland.
I'm in agreement. I I do make the argument for other players that by any mistakes, like bygones are bygones. I think Rayner's mistake was pretty disastrous. You know, in the usual circumstance, you would drop a player for something like that, I guess. You know, it's from an elder state to another team. It's from an experienced head. So with that in mind, I'll go for Nyland.
Yeah, totally agree there. Talk about the defence. Obviously, Tyrone Mings is a certain. There's talks about Gilbert being out injured. I don't know how much you know about that. But at the same time, I look at Al Mohammadi and he does offer a little bit different as well in terms of bringing those crossing balls.
So I think would go with Engels and Mings maybe. I think throughout the season they've been the best, two most experienced kind of central defenders we've got. This Gilbert thing is weird. I think it's a bit of an assumption from us all. Like the last I heard, all that we've heard about the injury is that it happened after Leicester. That was 3 months ago now. So, I mean, if it's an ongoing issue, I think Gilbert is the better right back. But like, I don't expect the drop off to be that bad with Al Mohammadi. And look, with Al Mohammadi, you have a solid and sturdy player. Yeah. You're not going to get a world beater, but also Villa have no other option. So I'm not going to complain about that. And I think you have Target on the left, of course.
Yeah, of course. Presuming we play a 3-man midfield, I'd put obviously John McGinn be back in hopefully, and then of course I would put Douglas Luiz in there, and it'd be interesting to see what he was saying in terms of like what John McGinn was saying in terms of the communication.
Yeah, so pardon me. My trio would be probably Nakamba, Luiz and McGinn. I like Luiz. I think, he's a player like El Ghazi where the talent is obviously there. To succeed, they've just got this little bit of technical ability that just comes so naturally. It's like effortless. It's just without a thought. They don't have to think about it. It's so instinctive. And that's what I love about Luiz. I think you get a lot of liability comments, but you tell me a centre midfielder at Villa who hasn't given the ball away easily this season, Harahan, Drinkwater especially, they're all liable for that. And I'll take Luiz for what he offers. In his first game back, though, I've always been inclined to maybe suggest Harahan just for the purpose of free kicks. I don't think you lose a lot between the two players. Mate, Douglas Luiz is class. Harahan decent. You've got players who are fighting for a first team chance. So, and Drinkwater as well. Hopefully that fight, whoever starts alongside McGinn, hopefully that fight is there.
Yeah, definitely need that in our midfield. We've talked about strikers, of course, and then on the wing, Jack Grealish on the left wing, of course, and then for me, I'll go El Ghazi.
Yeah, I think in terms of who you'd consider a starting winger, El Ghazi usually takes it from me over Trezeguet, and that's not to disrespect Trezeguet. It's because I think Trezeguet is a hard worker, but it always seems like he's running into the tide of the match, and he can't really find it in himself to be a game changer. Look, there's games where he's come in and scored the last minute goal. There's games where he scored as well. Liverpool, he opens the scoring. Wolves, he gets us a way back into the match, and against Leicester City, he wins it at the end. But El Ghazi, I think, at the drop of a hat, he can turn a match on. I just hope that he can find that next level now.
Yeah, of course. And then there's no other than the striker, Samatta.
Yeah, there we go. Samatta for me all day.
Yeah, of course. Right. Now I'm going to get the all-important score prediction from you. It's vitally important that we win. It's our game in hand. What are you saying, James?
Oh, man, I think it's going to be a 1-1.
1-1.
I think it's going to be... Both teams have got a lot to play for. Look, it's easy to ignore what Sheffield United have got in front of them, and that's probably, without any disrespect, a Champions League spot. That is the reality of what they're playing for, or at least European football. That's massive to them. And to them, I don't know how it stacks up against survival for Villa, but it's pretty close as an important goal. But man, Villa have got a lot to play for. They should be refreshed, and they should be able to compete with what Sheffield United are able to deliver. But this Sheffield United team cannot be ignored for how impressive they are. No,
of course not. I'm hoping, from my point of view, that we come back a completely different team to what we were before the break in March. And I'm going to I'm going to go with a 1-0 win. I'm going to be optimistic. I'll go scorer Jack Grealish.
Be lovely. Honestly, if it happens, I'll be so happy. I mean, even if it's a draw and last minute equaliser from Villa, you're just so happy that this team's got fight in them. All you want to see, win, lose or draw, is that fight that kind of evaporated.
Yeah.
In the,
and we definitely
the
saw that.
The earlier half.
Yeah, we definitely saw that as well in the cup final, in my opinion.
So they've got to use that as a platform, right?
Yeah, definitely. James, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with me. As much as a late notice it was, it's a pleasure to have a chat with you. And hopefully we're all celebrating on Wednesday night that we've got a first win in the Project Restart.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks for having me on, Jude. Appreciate it.
No problem. If you did enjoy the video, guys, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new. Leave your score predictions and thoughts down below in the comments, Villa fans. It's a pleasure to be talking about Aston Villa and creating the Aston Villa videos once again. But until next time, goodbye. Most important of all, up the Villa.
Hit the subscribe button and follow my journey to the media world. Click the video choices on screen to see more of my work.